USA is an organization that lives on college campuses. We have about 1,100 chapters nationwide, about 300 active chapters. It's an organization that believes in free markets, limited government, and individual fiscal responsibility.
Turning Point USA is the only college organization that is, in a way, politically active, not in the sense that because we are a nonpartisan nonprofit, so we're not going to be out there campaigning for Trump or Hillary or anybody like that, but we're the only one that's growing out of any other organization.
The types of views that we promote are very economical. We don't really get into social issues. We like to talk about free markets, limited government, like I was saying before. We have a few slogans, like big government sucks is one of our slogans, socialism sucks is another one of our slogans. So those are the sorts of ideals that we promote and try and educate people on college campuses.
Turning Point USA was created by Charlie Kirk.
He started it about 5 years ago in his garage, basically. He didn't go to university or college or anything, and he started the organization, and since then it's basically just grown into what it is now. Turning Point USA has been on the CU Denver campus since December of 2016. So on campus we do a lot of activism events, like the other day we did a free speech ball, we did an affirmative action bake sale. So the organization Turning Point USA, we actually have a lot of thoughts about student loans and everything like that. We want the federal government to get out of the student loan business. The federal government will give out loans to anyone. They will give out a loan to literally anyone who applies for the loan, right? 93% of students have loans through the federal government for college. That is a, incredibly high amount of people. And the price of college has gone up 1,000%, way past the rate of inflation as well since the 1970s up until now. So basically the government can raise the prices or can, keep giving out these loans to students, and the school can say, we're just going to keep raising the prices, because people can't file bankruptcy on student loans from the federal government. So the schools can just keep raising the prices, keep raising the tuition and everything, turning these schools into giant daycares essentially, and, the consumer can't do anything about it when it's ran by the federal government. So we want to give that power back to the banks and also make it seem put the ideas back in people's heads that you don't need to go to college. There are things that you can do, be successful without getting a degree. I know a lot of the people I talk to, they're not learning anything in college. College has become basically a big daycare in a lot of senses. People just come to party, everything like that. If you're going to spend tremendous amounts of money to go to these institutions, you might as well be learning something, in my opinion.
I think Turning Point USA is basically a front organization to promote what I might call fascist values on campus, which includes racism, sexism, transphobia, as we see with people like Milo and things like that.
I do not believe that the average TPUSA member subscribes to all of those points. What I do believe is that TPUSA's leadership does. And you can tell this by looking at Charlie Kirk, who's a Breitbart writer, and Breitbart is a far-right news source that is largely credited with the success of Donald Trump.
You can look at what our organization promotes and what we do on college campuses, and you can clearly see that nothing that we do is even remotely close to what the alt-right is about. And I think that if Charlie Kirk wrote for Breitbart, he has the freedom to do so. And I also, and personally, I don't think Breitbart is even the alt-right. I think that's a bad name that they've gotten from the left to try and discredit them as well. As much as they are biased, going towards the right, they are not alt-right in my opinion. So the Professor Watch List is kind of a side deal done by Turning Point USA, and it's basically a website where it showcases professors that have a sort of inclination or bias that is affecting their professionalism, basically. It's affecting their work and it's affecting the students who are in the classes.
And it's just a watch list, so if me and you are on this campus and we want to take a class and we look on that watch list and we see that this teacher teaching sociology is very against conservatives, and me being a conservative, maybe if you're not a conservative, you take that class. If you are a conservative, you could look at that watch list and say, maybe I don't take that class with that professor, because they're on the watch list.
Here's a story that we've been following here at Fox News. A Metropolitan State University professor requiring his students to recite what he calls the new Pledge of Allegiance.
My name is Dr. Charles Angeletti, Professor of History at Metropolitan State University of Denver. I'm familiar with the professor watch list. I wasn't until some of my friends called me and said, "You are in the New York Times." And I said, what are you talking about? I'm here in Denver. And they said, well, there's a professor watch list and your name is on it and your picture is in the New York Times, although they didn't identify you by name or by school. And what I have found out is the guy who compiled the list, he's very conservative, right wing. He is a propaganda person for Fox News. He wants, and he got these off the internet. He didn't verify it. He didn't see if they were correct or anything.
The only investigation that I guess goes on, if you call it an investigation, is basically us finding previous articles, news articles or such, or things put out by the school, anything like that, of the so-called event of why they would get on the watch list. So it's not us going out of our way and investigating something, it's we're finding something that's already out there and putting it on a list so that, you know, faculty, students, parents, alumni, you know, so they can know what's going on.
Oh, I think what I did was 2 years previously, I had a student who left my class and took a handout with him called the Anthem, which I hand out, and he then fed it to Fox News. Metro got lots of threats, and they got emails, and they got phone calls, and so the president called me over and said, "You are ruining the reputation of the university." And I said, "No, I'm not. I didn't even know it was happening. I am a victim of a student who came to class 2 days and then took this handout to another group who then gave it to Fox News."
I have to say, as soon as he started having us read the pledge or recite the pledge, I was seething, and I just couldn't believe what was happening, to be honest.
I did not make them, I did not require them to recite the pledge. I simply handed it out. I had about 6 handouts the first day, and they kept saying, "What do you want us to do with this?" I said, "Well, you can do whatever you want to. I want you to read it." And they said, "Will we ever discuss it?" I said, "Yes, that's what the whole course is about. We will discuss racism, sexism, xenophobia. We will discuss immigration. We will discuss all of the issues that are mentioned in the anthem, plus other issues, because I want you to know what is going on in America today."
Well, so the people who are running the Professor Watch List, they do their research on these sorts of things. So it's happened before where a professor will come back out afterwards and say, "Oh, I didn't say this, this didn't happen." You know, that is something that has happened before. So I see this as, it could be, you know, a situation where they're retracting what they did because now they feel bad about it. Now they are also on the Professor Watch List. So I have faith in the people who run the Professor Watch List that they are doing their job correctly and are not getting false information.
I think Turning Point USA, while they may espouse conservative values and like say that they're not fascists, the people who they invite are essentially anti-woman and pro-fascism. That Milo Yiannopoulos is stating that feminism is cancer, and saying that women who advocate for their freedom are somehow tearing the fabric of American society apart. That's anti-woman. That saying that we're not allowed to say that we deserve the same rights to self-actualize is a big problem. So
Turning Point USA had Milo come and speak at a few different college campuses. They had him come speak at Boulder, or this is in Colorado. They had him come speak at Boulder as well as at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. And so basically, we don't support everything that Milo is about. We had him come speak because we want him to have a platform for his First Amendment right, for the freedom of speech, being an American.
So when we talk about TPUSA bringing folks like Milo and Ivan Throne to certain conferences and to certain campuses, it's really important to note that there can't be a division between TPUSA and who they bring to their campuses, because they are very specifically finding people who fit into an ideology that they don't necessarily want to promote ostentatiously, because then that would take away the validity of them as a student organization, but they still want to be able to insert them into these spaces that are highly influential for kids.
If Turning Point USA is giving a speaker a platform, they are becoming a megaphone for that person's views and ideals. And whether or not they say that they espouse them, it doesn't matter.
I can see why women would be put off by having Milo come and speak. I think the thing is, though, that they have to understand exactly what I was saying before, that it is an act of free speech, and that we also, we're not endorsing everything that he is talking about. So if they're put off by freedom of speech, then, so be it. Turning Point USA hopes to achieve on our college campus an educated populace who is empowered and ready to go out and talk to people about these sort of political ideologies, be educated on these sorts of situations. I think there was a poll that came out maybe 2 years ago that people our age, millennials, 40% of them think socialism is a good idea. I mean, to me, that is a travesty. That is something that should not be going on after the 100 million deaths in the 20th century, all from socialism.